How's it going, folks? My name is Roughbutter and welcome back to another video. So today I'm having a look at another one of your suggestions. So this one comes from Mark Hamstra, who has mentioned that British scones and American scones are actually quite different. Which makes sense, because it makes sense to me why everybody says that scones and biscuits are so far apart. If your guys' scones are very different, then it makes sense as to why there'd be so much confusion. Maybe. So I'm quite interested to see what you guys would count as scones and how that's made and stuff like that. And yeah, see how that goes. There is another video that I do need to watch that is on the list, which is called Biscuits versus Scones, and I will be checking that out at some point. That was also due to a couple of your suggestions as well. So I'll be having a look at that. But I just thought before I get into that, I'd quite like to have a look at what the American scone is. I thought it'd be quite interesting. So folks, let's have a look. Right folks, before we get into it, I did just want to say that this recipe has been given to us by a channel called Preppy Kitchen, and if you want to check them out, the link to the original video will be in the description, so do give them some love and appreciation. But I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see how different these scones are. Obviously we can already see it on the screen, so I'm interested to see how much they differ from what I would see as a standard scone. So I'm quite interested. But Preppy Kitchen, brace yourself, for you're about to face the judgment of the fat man. Let's have a look.
Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making...
Hello, John Cannell. All right, sorry, I should just comment. Straight away. So these already look very different to what we call scones. 1 second. Okay, folks, so this is actually this is what we would call a scone, which is why we say it pretty much looks very similar to a biscuit. So from what I've seen, obviously a scone is a bit more doughy, a bit more bready sort of thing, but they do actually seem quite similar. Now, we traditionally have them with jam and cream, but we can have savoury ones as well. So maybe this is where the confusion comes from, but that is traditionally what we call a scone. So what that chap is... what that chap was holding, sorry, did look quite different to what we would traditionally call a scone.
Soft, flaky, delicious blueberry scones.
To be
fair, let's get started. First off, I'm doing an optional step because I love lemons and everything, especially if blueberries are involved. Into a large bowl, I'm adding 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. That's 66 grams. Now, normally in the recipe, you can just add all the dry ingredients in and then stir some stuff, but because I have lemon zest in here, I'm just going to be using my rasp. You can't
go wrong with a bit of lemon zest. You know, just adds a bit of something extra, a bit of summit in the recipe. 10 out of 10.
My favorite thing, lemon sugar. Plop that zest in.
Oh, okay, right.
Yes, a rasp is one of your best tools in the kitchen, so I hope you have one. Just use my clean hands and...
I don't have one. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disappoint you, Preppy Kitchen. I didn't mean to disappoint you.
Work that zest into the sugar.
Look at that, using the hands like an absolute professional.
Really intensify the lemon flavor. It's optional though, so if you want, you could just skip this step and add all the dry ingredients in like the flour.
Nah, add the lemon in, folks. Why not? What have you got to lose? Unless you're allergic to lemons, what have you got to lose? Just adds a bit of freshness, a bit of tanginess. Nothing wrong with that.
It smells so good though. It really works a lot of that lemon flavor out and gives you a wonderful, like intense, bright flavor.
Excellent.
Now that we have that extravagant lemon flavor worked into our sugar, I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
Let's go.
40 grams. And I hope everyone has a scale in the kitchen. Do yourself a favor, buy one, and you'll be...
Nah, it's all about the eyes. It's all about the eyes. Scale's overrated. It's all about the eyes. You're just like, yeah, no, that's good, that is. That is all good. Also, that's a big jar of flour. I was going to make the all-purpose flour joke again, but I did that last time. Check out the other videos to see what joke I'm referring to.
So happy. It really cuts down on your dishes. You're not wasting all those measuring cups and washing them, and you get accurate results every single time.
Nah, overrated.
Goods are delicious, not dry and bready. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, little contrast.
Nice.
For leavening, we have 2 teaspoons of baking powder.
Okay.
I'm also going to whisk this together.
This is a very powdery dish so far. I don't know why, but I just got a feeling that it's going to take one bite and it'll go...
especially since I had the sugar on the bottom, which is a little heavier.
Let's do
Now
it.
it's
Let's
time for
whisk
our
it all
butter.
together.
It's in the fridge though because it needs to be nice and cold. Unlike most recipes where we want room temperature ingredients, this is more of a pastry situation where you have the cold butter, the cold
I'm
cream,
with you.
everything's cold, and it makes some magic happen when they bake up.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's right. My book's available for pre-order now.
How did that get there? Oh, look at this conveniently placed book. I see what you're doing.
There's a link in the description box below, and there are so many amazing recipes I'm very excited to share with you, including a classic English scone, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, he's gonna talk about the difference, the two of them.
I would categorize this recipe as an American scone.
Okay.
In the UK and Australia and everywhere else are like, what's going on with this recipe? Because you're calling them scones or scones, and this is like a triangle. So
Oh, actually, yeah. People, what do you call it? Do you call it a scone? Do you call it a scone? Let me know. Well, actually, when is a scone not called a scone? When you eat it and it's gone. All right, let's go.
I don't understand. I'm gonna break it down, but we can talk about it in the comments. Here we have things called biscuits, which are not cookies.
Yep.
Biscuits are like scones, but they don't have eggs. So
Okay.
a scone looks like a biscuit if you're watching this from America, but it has some eggs, it's a little bit richer, beautiful, smooth top, flaky layers, and it's perfect to split open and have lashings of butter or cream, like a Devonshire cream, and jam and everything else.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to eat. And I used to think that these triangles that I would see at bakeries here were all nonsense because they were like dry, they were always disappointing, it was weird. I was like, what's going on? Why can't we just have nice things? And it turns out that I was wrong. Those were just overbaked, stale, or poorly made. This recipe shows you how to make a classic American style scone the right way. They're
Very interesting. Very interesting. You know what? This is all starting to make sense. I started out this journey about 12 months ago about trying to find out more about biscuits and scones. I mean, I've only started to do some more on it recently. But I feel like the more I get into it, the more it unpacks and the more there's so much to it. But I feel like we're slowly getting there, folks. We are slowly getting there with the difference between scones and biscuits and what's going on. We're getting there slowly, folks. I feel like some kind of detective trying to figure this all out.
They're so tender in the middle. They have a wonderful flaky character to them, and it's just a pleasure to eat. They're also like very light, they're not dense, and the flavor of the lemon and the blueberry is just gonna knock your socks off. These disappear in a flash. And by the way, right now I'm just cubing my butter up using the wrong tool. I don't know why I'm using this instead of a knife.
It's because you are doing baking in the hardest difficulty, and I respect that. I respect a man who can to just does unnecessarily difficult things. Do you know what I mean? Why go for easy mode when you can go for difficult mode? Why do it? Why indeed?
That's half a cup, 113 grams of cold, unsalted butter. If you only have
Excellent
salted butter on hand, that'll work too. Just decrease the amount of salt by a quarter teaspoon. Now, we're gonna use our clean hands to work the
Nah, get out of here. Clean hands? Nah. What is this? What is that? Clean hands? Not about that line.
this butter in, and we want to have a play of sizes. So I want to have some small pieces of butter, some larger. That's going to give us that flaky, beautiful texture.
Okay.
So most of the butter will be pea-sized.
I mean, I gotta give it to him.
Some will be a bit bigger, and I'm just breaking these.
I'm all about using your hands when it's baking. Using your hands for a lot of stuff. You know, put those hands to work. I'm all about that. I'm all about that life. And I think it's one of the best parts of baking is just getting your hands in there, mixing it all up. It's 10 out of 10. What's the point if you're not using your hands?
Cubes up with my fingers as I move along. If you want, you could use a pastry blender too, like that tool, or you could use a food processor. But I will tell you, as someone who loves their food processor dearly and used to use it for pastry all the time, it's difficult to not overmix your butter. So
Okay.
you want to have those pieces of butter. They're going to expand in the oven, really like make magic happen. The food processor just makes them too small. It's too easy to go press, 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 press. And what happens? You get tiny pieces of butter and it looks like it's gonna work out, but then you eat it, it's like a little bit disappointing. So just do it by hand. It smells
That's what my ex used to say. I'm sorry.
so amazing from all that lemon and butter. Gosh. And if you don't have blueberries on hand, you can make these with so many different things. So like you can use dried cranberries, you could use orange zest instead of the lemon, you could use candied fruit, you could leave them plain. Like they're gonna be delicious in a number of varieties. Even chocolate chips. So you can see I have some tiny pea-sized pieces, some larger ones that are like hazelnuts or whatever. You get the idea. There's a play of pieces, and as we mix things in, you'll get a little bit more working in as well.
I mean, I have to give it to him. That was very well done. Just breaking it all up, and I was quite happy sitting here and watching it. There's something quite satisfying watching people bake or cook and stuff, or not necessarily satisfying, but like relaxing. It's quite chilled out, you know, especially when they're talking. This guy's got a nice soothing voice. That sort of thing is he's just guiding us through elegantly, you know, and just mixing all that up. It's quite chilled out. I quite like it.
Right now I'm adding a cup or 6 ounces of fresh, delicious blueberries in.
Love
Since
blueberries. I love blueberries so much. They're so good. 10 out of 10 choice of fruit. 10 out of 10. I think there's a lot of fruit that could work in here, but blueberries are just such a good fruit to choose.
And flour, I'm just gonna mix these blueberries in gently.
Get them in there!
Be gentle with those blueberries. You do not want them to all burst right away. And I know fresh blueberries are not always easy to get. Can you use frozen blueberries? Yes, you can. You can also use other types of frozen fruit, but stir those in at the very last moment after the cream. We don't want the juices to like bleed through and change the consistency of the dough. Our dry mixture is all together.
Nice.
What'll hold it together? A delicious combination of cold heavy cream, 3/4 of a cup.
Heavy cream? Oh, that is thick, boy.
And 1 egg, also cold. And crack that right in.
Oh, yes.
And give it a quick whisk.
That was some egg cracking skills right there. I always am mesmerized with how cleanly people can crack eggs. I can remember, like, I'm not too bad at it now, but when I first started, man, what a mess. What a mess. It always, but I love it. And I love watching different people do it as well. So obviously he cracked it on the table. I think one of the last ones we did, they cracked it on the side of the bowl. I like seeing people's different, oh geez, I can't speak today. I like seeing people's strategies when cracking eggs. I like it. It's good. It's good stuff.
The egg is going to help hold things together a bit. That yolk is giving it a little bit of extra richness, but really it's like a glue.
Ooh, look at that whisk skilling.
Go back to our dry mixture.
Right, Roughbutter, your brain today. I have no idea what's going on. Look at that whisking skill was what I meant to say.
And pour this creamy deliciousness in.
Oh, damn, that is thick.
Silicone spatula just to move it
around. Look at that go.
Pour. It'll help the mixing process. And you
10 out of 10.
do not want to overmix your dough. If you do that, you're going to activate the gluten in the flour, and you probably know what'll happen. It'll get kind of dense, it'll get chewy, and it won't have that wonderful, like flaky, soft, amazing texture.
Never overmix the dough.
You can do it with your hands too, but that is very messy. So I like using a spatula.
We started off strong with the hands, but as soon as a bit of mess is involved, he likes clean hands, folks. It's understandable. Clean hands only. I'm with you.
To fold it all together without really mixing it aggressively. I'm also being gentle with my blueberries right now. And you can see this mixture is super wet. Come take a look. I have some pockets of dry. I want to get rid of those. So we're just folding everything in. And yes, I'm being very gentle, in part because of my blueberries. I don't want those to get burst. I'm grabbing a baking sheet.
Let's go.
Parchment paper for that. And this is a little bit messy right now, so let's grab some flour, sprinkle it on your counter.
Excellent. Now he's willing to touch the dough. I see how it is. I'm just kidding. I'm actually really enjoying this. I think the guy, I don't know, he's just very soothing. I'm just super chilled out at the moment, just watching him. I'm having a great time.
Turn this out onto my floured surface. A
nice.
scone should look a bit unmanageable at this point. Get everything off of your spatula.
Yep.
A little bit of flour for your hands, and we're just gonna shape this into a ball.
Okay.
We're definitely not like kneading it or anything at this point. It's just shaping it into a ball and then a disc. You can pat it down a bit.
Nice.
Some more flour for your hands, it's sticky. Keep it moving.
Okay.
And I'm shaping this into an 8-inch disc. And you can see there's blueberries throughout. There's big chunks of butter.
I'm not gonna lie, that does look pretty good. That does look pretty good. Blueberries are well spread out, you know. Don't you hate it when you got a slice of something and there's one fruit or like half a piece of fruit in that? It's the worst. You know, got some good spread going there.
Flaky, amazing texture. This is sticky, so in between cuts, I'm gonna dust this in some flour.
Okay,
Cut it into quarters.
Oh.
Now you have your quarters and you have eighths.
Nice. That worked out quite nicely.
Crunch too many blueberries as I cut. So many math lessons in baking. These are going to go onto our baking sheet now. Just give them some space.
That is clean, to be fair.
If we put these in the oven now, horrible things would happen. That'd be bad. Now that these are safe and sound on our baking sheet, we can pop these into the freezer for 20 minutes. We need to freeze this. Otherwise, all these beautiful chunks of butter would just melt and ooze out, and this would be a disaster. So the freezing is super important. Into the freezer, and while they freeze, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. My scones are out of the freezer. My oven's nice and hot. I'm gonna brush these guys with cream, and
very
by
nice.
the way, 20 minutes is the minimum time. You could.
These are looking clean, to be fair. These are looking pretty good. Like, these are solid. This is solid work. This is. I've never tried scones like these before, but I would 100% be down for trying these, especially if it's a recipe made like this. I hope when I try one, it's not one of the dry ones that I mentioned previously. It's always the worst, isn't it? When you try something for the first time and you've got nothing to compare it to and you have a bad experience, you're like, that's terrible food. But you've just had a bad version of some good food. And yeah, it is always the worst. I do feel it. But hopefully when I do try these, or to be fair, I might even try making them myself. And we'll try it and I'll use his recipe. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But folks, let me know down below if you want to see me try these. I could do a scone by scone comparison, so American scones versus British scones, and yeah, and see what the difference is.
You could make these a day ahead, a week ahead, even a month ahead. Keep them in the freezer, just in a sealed bag, and then pop them right into the oven from frozen. You will have to increase the baking time slightly. So just watch out for those key signs we'll tell you about. Some of these have some powdery flour on them, which we don't like. Not a great mouthfeel. And the cream will take care of that. So
excellent.
Give us a golden finish, look a little smoother, and you'll have a better mouthfeel.
That's
you
fair.
Could pop these into the oven, but I like a final optional flourish of sugar, and I'm gonna go get some sanding sugar for my sprinkle drawer.
Look at that drawer, damn boy. Let's have a look at that again.
Flourish of sugar, and I'm gonna go get.
Look at that. That is a drawer that I want. That is a very colourful drawer, and I am very jealous of that. That is nice. Damn.
Sanding sugar for my sprinkle drawer. This is just sugar that has a bigger grain size, so it's more sparkly and has a crunch. Into the oven, 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes, and I will tell you that if they were extra frozen, give them a few extra minutes. They should be golden on top and golden underneath.
Nice.
Let your scones cool for about 10 minutes, then enjoy or transfer to a wire rack to finish cooling so they can stay nice and crisp and not get soggy.
Oh, that one was almost tearing apart.
Beauty.
Nice. Very soft. You can tell that. I mean, obviously you can tell that it looks a bit spongy, to be fair. It looks like it's got quite a spongy consistency. So I wonder if they are a little bit more like a sponge-esque cake. And you can tell, like, by the bite there, the way it just kind of broke off. Definitely more sponge-esque. I bet they are nice, though.
And soft on the inside, crisp on the outside, and
yeah, I was going to say, it is a nice colour, like, hang on, sorry, let's go back again. On that left-hand side there, around the edge, is a bit of a nice... I think it's always nicer when around the edge it's a bit of a darker colour to give it that outer crisp. I think that's when it's making me salivate. I think that's where things are like best, like that's peak consistency.
Tender and soft on the inside, crisp on the outside and full of blueberry lemon flavor. Oh my gosh, I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like my videos, check out my breakfast treat playlist.
I sure possibly will, maybe, if people want me to. Alright folks, that is it from me. I'm not going to lie, this is quite educational. This is quite interesting. It seems quite different from a classic sort of scone that we have here in the UK. So I am curious as to see whether that is where the confusion comes from, or the difference, or those people who are commenting saying, oh no, these are two very different things. I'm curious as to where if that is where that's coming from, or it is the scones that I'm thinking of and you guys are like, nah, the consistencies are completely different. I have no idea what you're talking about. That could possibly be it either. I mean, I'm not going to know until I actually try them. So I think plans for the future. A lot of people keep on asking as well when I'm going to try it out instead of watching videos. Folks, I am working on it, I promise. I'm trying to figure out a setup. I'm trying to get a good camera. But if I'm going to do it, I need to do it properly, folks. I don't just want a terrible sort of situation or a setup or anything like that. So I think there's going to be trying out biscuits for the first time, a biscuit and a scone comparison, and then possibly a 2 scone comparisons as well. If you want to see that, let me know down below. But yeah. Folks, as I said, that is all from me. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave me a cheeky like. If you want to see more videos or you have any more suggestions, anything like that, or there's anything in particular that you want me to see, then please, please, please leave a comment down below. And folks, if you want to see more of my content in general, I'd really, really appreciate it if you were to just ever so gently tap that subscribe button for me. It means a lot to me, it's completely free, and it lets me know that you guys are having a good time and want to see some more, and I really appreciate that. But folks, as I said, that is all from me. I hope you have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now. Bye!